I'm Rita Sheffy, the Assistant Dean for Public Service at Emory Law. This work is so important to me because I'm passionate about serving others and giving back, and I'm able to leverage that passion to 1,000 law students at Emory Law and to see them pursue their passions.
What got me interested in a career in public interest, I would have to say, was police brutality. Growing up in my neighborhood, I saw a lot of it, and I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to become a lawyer to try to help make some changes when it comes to that, and I've been at it ever since. What I say to people who say you can make way more money at big firms is, if it's about the money, there are easier ways to make money than to go to law school. For me, it's not about the money. It's about the impact and the change that you can make in a community that needs impactful change.
I decided to study immigration law based on my experience working with refugees in Jordan in undergrad. I studied Arabic and spent a good amount of time in Jordan working with an organization that helps refugee women and girls kind of rebuild their education after they've been displaced for a while. And it was just so inspiring for me to work with people who are so resilient and take so little and turn it into something that furthers their own families and creates a stronger future for themselves. And being able to walk beside someone through a very difficult and heart-wrenching procedure that involves sometimes being torn apart from their families or not knowing where their next home is going to be is incredibly rewarding.
I think one of the mandates that all top law schools have, whether implicitly or explicitly, is giving back to their community, whether that's the local community, the large illegal community, or the national community. And part of the way they need to do that is through pro bono opportunities. Students need to be aware that there are multiple paths for them. It's not just necessarily going in-house. It's not necessarily just going to a firm. And in fact, students should have to consider those, because the individuals who are pro bono attorneys are some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. And they're giving back to their community in such an impactful way. And that reflects well upon their law school. So Emory Law does a great job of explicitly reminding students that there are multiple forms of career paths for them, and that if they want to choose pro bono, the opportunities are there.
The EPIC grant is life. Without the EPIC grant, I would definitely not have been able to pursue public interest over the summer, because I do have bills to pay. So the grant helped me to pay my bills, pay to get to work, from work, eat, all that good stuff. But I don't see how I would have been able to do a public interest job over the summer without the EPIC grant. It just wouldn't have happened.
The EPIC grant has allowed me to do both of my summer internships in public interest and not have to feel pressured to do a big law internship or something that I wasn't interested in. I was able to intern with the Access to Law Foundation doing family and immigration law work during my first summer. And then my second summer, I was in the Atlanta Legal Aid Gwinnett office, again delving into immigration work that I was really passionate about, and it's really prepared me for a future in practicing public interest immigration law.
I absolutely think that it's important for every student at Emory Law to have some exposure to public interest and public service. Not only those who are going to go into public interest careers, but also because other students are going to go into practices in a big firm such as I did, and being able to recognize the importance and the value of pro bono work and how you can incorporate that in your legal career. We talk about it here at Emory Law that every student should be able to incorporate public service into their legal career no matter which path they take.
So I really wouldn't have been able to pick the summer internship that I did if it weren't for the EPIC grant. I was at an unpaid government position at the Social Security Administration, and coming from a low-income family with zero college education, it just wasn't attainable for me to rely on any sort of family assistance or any sort of alternative assistance method. So I really did rely upon EPIC to help me fund my summer internship and allow me to really choose the position that I wanted and that I thought would advance my career the best. And I really thank them for that.
Welcome to the 25th anniversary year of the EPIC Inspiration Awards. My name is Drew Selden, and I have the privilege of serving as this year's president of the Emory Public Interest Committee. When thinking of a way to describe how impactful EPIC is, I kept returning to the many layers of support that our community provides. I am constantly humbled to help lead an organization that fosters the community that EPIC fosters. EPIC brings together members and supporters who recognize our responsibility as future lawyers to serve our communities through public interest work. We have a community of student members who will do anything to support each other. The support comes in endless forms, including working to fundraise for grants and connecting with peers to discuss public interest opportunities, all while dedicating countless hours to legal work. We have a community of alumni whose dedication to EPIC remains relentless. And we have a community of donors who enable our members to perform public interest work during the summer. Throughout tonight's program, you'll hear about how the pandemic has changed many things about this year. You'll hear the phrases we have all become accustomed to hearing, like unprecedented times or in response to being virtual. But before that, I'd like to talk about how EPIC's executive board has fought through these changes, accomplishing many feats that would have been impressive even without a pandemic. Instead of describing how the pandemic has shaped EPIC's year, I'll share what EPIC has done to shape this year. Our Student Initiatives Chair, Sammy, coordinated fall and spring book sales. These sales were so successful that while providing discounted books to our students, we also raised enough money, almost enough money for an entire EPIC grant. Our 1L representative, Rachel, has provided valuable insight into the 1L experience by collecting and analyzing a survey, while also providing suggestions as to how to make sure our new students are welcomed and incorporated into the EPIC and the Emory Law community. Our volunteer coordinator, Aubrey, has worked to form partnerships with legal groups in the community and has significantly increased the number of legal volunteering opportunities available to EPIC members. Our conference co-chairs, Chelsea and Claire, hosted a timely and informative conference which focused on the ongoing fight for voting rights. Our treasurer, Jack, has juggled the financial needs of our organization, making sure that funds are deposited so we are set to tackle whatever our next challenge might be. Our communications chair, Lizzie, kickstarted EPIC's newsletter, which has enhanced our communication, making events and public interest opportunities more accessible to our members. Our vice president, Anna, developed a mentorship program, ensuring that our new members are welcomed and that all of our members stay connected. Our grant coordinator, Stephanie, has built a collection of resources that will both alleviate stress and provide transparency to EPIC grant applicants. And finally, our inspiration co-chairs, Matt and Elena, have created this event to celebrate part of what makes EPIC so special, our community, both past and present students. And of course, all of this work has been guided and supported by many faculty and staff members at Emory. First and foremost, Dean Sheffy, but there are also many others, including Dean Babinski, Dean Rosenzweig, Stephanie Dingle, Blakely James, Kenyatta Greer, Amy Marcelana, and Marshall Sampson. Needless to say, I am inspired. The work of the EPIC community, including our board members, our student members, our alumni, and our donors, reflects EPIC's resilient and unwavering dedication to the public interest. Thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate the 25th anniversary year of the Inspiration Awards. Tonight, we celebrate the students of Emory Law, both past and present, who inspire us to remain dedicated to our responsibility to serve our communities. With that, I would like to welcome to the virtual stage a supporter of public interest students at Emory Law, Dean Babinski.
Well, thanks, Drew. I'll join you in welcoming everyone to this kickoff event for the 25th year of the EPIC Inspiration Awards. You've just heard a little summary of all that EPIC does, all that Drew and her fellow student leaders have done over the past year. I'm going to take a few moments just to talk about public interest, public service at Emory, talk about the broad range of activities that our faculty, staff, and students are engaged in. I hope add some broader context and make even more impressive this brief summary that Drew just shared with you. At last year's EPIC award ceremony, which was my first as Emory Law's dean, I mentioned how impressed I was by faculty, staff, and particularly student commitment to public interest and public service. From my first meetings with students at the law school, from my first contacts with staff, including Rita Sheffy and others, I kept hearing about the Center for Public Service, the EPIC Awards, the student commitment to public interest that flowed through the school. And it truly was a pivotal part of my joining the Emory Law community to become a part of this flow of interest, this river of commitment that Emory has shown over time to allowing our students to really, truly within their law school experience, begin to understand the importance of public service, the importance of public interest, and the role that lawyers play in protecting the most vulnerable in our society. And over the past year, I've, if anything, gotten more impressed since the last year's EPIC Awards by the ways in which our community has worked nimbly and creatively to continue these commitments, even as we, as you've heard, deal with the unprecedented challenges of the past year, challenges of remote learning, looking for ways to ensure that we're responding to the calls for racial justice, participating and helping to move forward the important understanding of the role of law in ensuring democracy in our society, and of course, in dealing with the ongoing pandemic. As you've heard, tonight's program is kicking off a year that's culminating in the 25th anniversary of the EPIC Inspiration Awards. And as you've heard and as you know, this particular event allows people and encourages people to provide desperately needed support for summer grants for our students that allow them to work in otherwise unfunded summer positions with nonprofit organizations, government agencies, and with judges. And I will say, and this will be a theme that we return to in the course of our evening together, this has never been more important than right now. We are experiencing extraordinary levels of student interest, commitment, and engagement. We know what the needs are in our society, and being able to match students with those needs, with your support for these EPIC summer grants is vitally important. So I thank those of you who've taken the time to contribute, and I encourage those of you who have the ability to do so to support this important program. Last year, we had record numbers of students participating. We anticipate the same for this year, and we know the needs in our society are great. Tonight, you're going to hear, and you have heard already, inspiring stories from students and alumni about what the EPIC grants have meant to them. I know we'll hear more of that through the course of our time together. But I want to take a moment just to highlight the importance of public service at Emory Law and to provide a little background and context, as I said earlier, to the efforts of students that you've heard about tonight. It allows us to celebrate what's happened at Emory Law so far, to look at our achievements in public interest and public service, and also an opportunity for each of us, as we hear these inspiring stories, to rededicate ourselves to the high ideals of public service. So, our students have the opportunity to engage in a number of different ways with important objectives in public service and with communities in need. We have a robust externship program through which many students work in public interest organizations during the academic year. That program's led by Associate Dean and Professor Derek Howard. I mentioned his name in case any of you know of externship opportunities and want to draw them to our attention. Students also can work in one of our academic credit-bearing clinics, the International Humanitarian Law Clinic, the Turner Environmental Law Clinic, and one of the 3 clinics offered through the Barton Child Law and Policy Center. And each of these clinics provides valuable opportunity for our students to engage with important emerging topics and for causes very much associated with the public interest and the promotion of justice. We also have volunteer clinics, clinics that students can participate in without earning academic credit. They do earn pro bono recognition credit and gain practical legal experience. The Emory Immigration Legal Assistance Clinic is now in its 3rd year, engaging students working with immigration attorneys to guide area immigrants who are facing legal issues. Many of you may be aware of the Emory Law Volunteer Clinic for Veterans, now celebrating its 8th year of existence. It provides support for veterans who are seeking much needed benefits, allows them to get help applying for discharge upgrades for those who suffer from PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and also helps with the creation of estate plans. This is a vitally important clinic serving a community in need, and also is among the many that worked nimbly and creatively over the past year, repurposing itself for a time to be able to provide estate planning support for healthcare workers who are working in the front line in the pandemic, showing this ongoing commitment to using our expertise and our desire to help to this new community in need. And this particular clinic, the Volunteer Clinic for Veterans, has also gained significant private support through grants and individual donations, and has been able to hire 2 new staff members and expanded services to veterans south of Atlanta, holding virtual clinics for veterans in these challenging times. Well, we're providing these opportunities for students, and we're thinking globally as a law school about how to promote public interest. And indeed, shortly after I arrived, I created a new public interest task force to actually study how Emory Law approaches public interest in public service activities, how our students understand the opportunities available to them, how the community views Emory Law, and what the opportunities might be to enhance our programming moving forward. So I just wanted to recognize the work of the task force. It issued a report last summer, parts of which have already been implemented to improve our programming and coordination and activities, the way in which we communicate about these activities to students. But an important part of the task force report also set the page for our new strategic plan, which is just approved by the faculty right before the winter break, unanimously approved, that includes a number of core initiatives designed to ensure that public interest in public service will remain at the center of Emory Law moving forward, and that will have continued strength in this area, including, I should say, recognizing the need to do more to provide support for students and through EPIC grants in the summers to be able to gain experience in public interest, government, judicial settings, and to be able to further their potential careers through the support of these EPIC grants. So I wanted to thank the task force members for their work and to highlight the way in which that work has allowed us to have public interest at the center of our new plans. I also wanted to acknowledge the crown jewel of Emory Law when it comes to public interest in public service, the Emory Public Interest Committee, or EPIC, which is obviously the center of tonight's award ceremony. In October, as you've just heard modestly stated by Drew, just 7 months into the pandemic, EPIC students organized and presented an annual public interest conference via Zoom on the timely topic, as you've heard, of voting rights. And I just wanted to acknowledge on behalf of the law school, Claire Scavonia and Chelsea Voronoff for pulling off a successful conference so early in the pandemic, being a model to us of what can be achieved through a virtual conference. I also wanted to recognize the co-chairs of tonight's program, Matt Werr and Elena Trilling, for the work planning the event, Drew Selden, who you've met already, for her outstanding service and leadership, and all the other students who she highlighted have been actively engaged in furthering EPIC's work over the past year. I'd also like to acknowledge Assistant Dean for Public Service, Rita Sheffy, and Program Coordinator, Blakely James, for all that they do, their constant work on behalf of students and their participation in some of the very important strategic discussions that we've had over the past year about what will be the next steps for public interest and public service at Emory Law. They do very important work on a daily basis, advising students about public interest in government careers, assisting students with postgraduate judicial clerkship opportunities, presenting programming and opportunities for students to engage in pro bono activities, and making sure that all students are exposed, as you've heard, not just to the idea of public interest as a career or a vocation, but also to the important role that public service can have and should have in the lives of every Emory Law graduate. Very soon, Rita will be presenting the annual award to a third-year student for commitment to public service. I wanted to thank Mark Wasserman and his wife, Rebecca, Emory Law alumnus Mark Wasserman, I should say, and his wife, Rebecca, for their generosity in supporting this award, which is now presented in their names. And I want to thank each of you for participating, for your commitment to public interest and public service, for participating and taking time this evening to participate in this event. I'd now like to welcome Assistant Dean Sheffy to present the Mark and Rebecca Wasserman Public Service Award. Thanks to each of you.
Well, thank you, Dean Babinski, not only for your participation tonight, but for your intense support of public interest all throughout the year. And so each year we solicit nominations for the Mark and Rebecca Wasserman Public Service Award from third-year students, faculty, and staff. The award is intended to recognize the 3L who has exemplified the greatest commitment to public interest through his, her, or their work at Emory Law, with a particular focus on contributions to the Emory Public Interest community, as well as outside of it. This year, 11 students were nominated, and the student selected is Suman Malanpotty. Dr. Malanpotty arrived at Emory Law 2.5 years ago, leaving behind a successful career in pediatric oncology as an associate professor of pediatrics at Oregon Health and Science University. As one of his medical colleagues has noted, quote, Suman's decision to leave medicine to pursue a career in law was motivated by an intense commitment to public service. He is an exceptional human being with deep personal convictions and steadfast determination to make things better. As much as Suman derived great personal satisfaction from improving the lives of children with cancer, he yearned to serve society by impacting a broader range of vulnerable individuals, close quote. Suman has succinctly stated his decision as one to find a better avenue through which he could work for justice and equality. And he has certainly done that as an Emory Law student in his academics, pro bono work, public service, and community service and leadership. In the fall of his first year, Suman leveraged his medical background working with the Southern Poverty Law Center, reviewing medical records of immigrant detainees and providing opinions about medical care. He also volunteered with the Georgia Voter Protection Hotline. The next semester, he mentored and provided academic assistance to refugee students in an after-school program at Clarkston High School. Then during the summer after his second year, he conducted legal research to support a pro bono habeas case. And beginning that fall, he participated in the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation's Housing Court Assistance Center, a walk-in clinic advising tenants facing eviction proceedings. He then returned to election-related activities last summer, continuing through last month as a poll watcher for the primary, general election, and Senate runoff, as well as a ballot cure canvasser. Suman has worked in the Barton Child Law and Policy Center's Policy Clinic on a project addressing how to increase relative placement for children in Georgia's foster care system. He was a legislative intern in the Georgia Senate and an intern with the Southern Environmental Law Center conducting legal research to support large civil impact litigation on environmental justice issues. And more recently, he was an extern in the law office of the DeKalb Public Defender. His nominator noted that Suman worked with the Emory Law Journal Executive Board to promote diverse voices in legal scholarship by helping plan the journal's special edition on Blackness in America. In addition to his roles with ELJ, Suman was quite intentional about his Emory Law activities, many of which involved leadership roles. He is executive editor for the Supreme Court Advocacy Program, and other roles have included co-president of the American Constitution Society, vice president for external affairs for the Federal Bar, Emory Law Chapter, and treasurer of EPIC. Yet none of these activities began to address what an outstanding student he is, how patient and even-tempered, how truly committed he is to public service, or how enjoyable he is just to talk with. The person who nominated Suman summed it up this way: Suman Malanpotty's North Star is service. Suman has dedicated his law school experience to helping out others in every way he can. He lifts others up with compliments, with warmth, and with his kind nature. I am certain he will continue to do so past his time at Emory Law. After graduation, Suman and his family will return to the West Coast, where he will serve for the next 2 years as a judicial law clerk to Chief Judge Marco A. Hernandez on the United States District Court for the District of Oregon in Portland, and then on to more public service after that. When he was informed about this award, Suman said, "It means more to me than any academic achievement during law school. I was already fully committed to public interest work, but receiving this award motivates me to work hard to have as big of an impact as I can in working towards social justice." And I am sure he will. It is my pleasure to congratulate the 2021 recipient of the Mark and Rebecca Wasserman Public Service Award, Suman Malanpotty. And now it's my pleasure to turn over the program to this year's Inspiration Awards co-chairs, Matt Rohr and Elena Trilling. Matt and Elena.
Congratulations, Suman, on winning the Wasserman Award. Your commitment to public service is a testament to the amazing things that Emory students can achieve when supported by our institution. My name is Matt Rohr, and I'm one of the Inspiration Awards co-chairs this year alongside Elena Trilling. We wanted to take this opportunity actually to highlight some of the awesome work that other Emory students have been able to do for their communities this school year. Unfortunately, we can't read all the notes that your classmates sent in, so these are just a few examples of how the Emory community is inspiring each other. 1L Renuka Srivastava inspires her peers by organizing a panel on environmental racism and how that specifically affects the predominantly Black communities in Atlanta and Birmingham.
2L Isla Ershad inspires her peers through her work with the International Refugee Assistance Project, where she has coordinated a project helping those who are eligible for naturalization.
3L Brandon Sinnott is inspiring his classmates with his commitment to and passion for environmental justice.
LLM Veronica Botello Perry is inspiring peers by volunteering her time and skills to translate documents from Portuguese without hesitation.
1L Zoe Shields is inspiring her peers by compiling cases to assist with a large study on racial disparities and the death penalty with the Georgia Resource Center.
Finally, 3L Drew Zeldin needs mention here. Her commitment to keeping EPIC functioning at a high level, particularly given the challenges we faced this year, is incredible. Her work with the Georgia Innocence Project inspired many students to write in on her behalf, and we're so grateful for her leadership.
Thank you all for your work, and I hope that you'll continue to inspire your classmates in the years to come. Now we're going to hear from some students who were engaged in public service this past summer. While it wasn't the summer that any of us anticipated, these recipients of the EPIC grant still managed to commit themselves to the challenging but incredibly important work that they undertook.
Hi, my name is Claire Scavone and I'm a 2L at Emory.
Hi, my name is Nancy and I'm a 2L, which means I'll be graduating in 2022.
Hi, my name is Allie Golish. I'm a 2L, so that means that I will be graduating in May of 2022.
Last year, I received an EPIC grant to fund my internship with the Home Defense Program of Atlanta Legal Aid Society, which I completed virtually from my family's home in Charlotte. To me, the EPIC grant meant the opportunity to be a part of an amazing organization like Legal Aid. This summer, Legal Aid kept working diligently and passionately for their clients despite the pandemic, and being a small part of that story was extremely rewarding after getting to know the clients. It also showed me what true advocacy looks like.
This past summer, I was fortunate enough to be accepted to the Sonia and Selena Sotomayor internship program, which placed me with a magistrate judge, Judge Scanlon in the Eastern District of New York. The internship was really awesome, even though it was postponed because of the pandemic. It was supposed to start in June, but it started in July. Even though we were completely remote and all of the trials had been pushed back, the chambers still found opportunities for us to be involved with what the judge was doing and what the clerks were doing. So the interns called into every single one of the hearings that the judge did, and every Tuesday we were supposed to present on one of the judge's upcoming hearings and just give everyone a little bit more context about how the case got to be in front of the judge, where we thought the case should proceed from there. This was really awesome because it really allowed me to sort of understand civil procedure a little bit more. I remember finishing my first semester of 1L year and thinking, I'm never going to understand civil procedure, I won't ever know what it actually does. But this internship really contextualized it for me and allowed me to see it happen. The EPIC grant itself really meant a lot to me. When I initially applied for it, I meant to use it to pay rent in New York, and as we all know, rent in New York is crazy expensive, but even though the internship itself was remote, the EPIC grant was still a really big blessing in my life because it allowed me a much bigger cushion to live at home and to buy groceries for my family, treat my mom to takeout dinner. It allows students like me to do things that they're interested in, that they know that they want to do and they want to contribute to the world without having to take on another job or without having to consider other paying opportunities.
This summer, I interned at the Federal Defender Program in the Northern District of Illinois, so in Chicago, and I managed the pandemic through lots of Zoom meetings, as I'm sure all of you did, and unfortunately, I didn't really get to meet many of my coworkers in person, but I did have the opportunity to protest with my supervisor at a Black Lives Matter protest, so that was a really unique opportunity. As a lot of people, I'm sure, involved in public interest know, being in public interest law means to redefine what a win is. As attorneys and aspiring attorneys, we all want to win. We're all very competitive. I spent most of my summer writing compassionate release motions for people who were in custody, looking with special considerations. They could be impacted negatively by the pandemic, and I actually had one granted that I found out, so that was really great to help someone make sure that their sentence didn't turn into a death sentence. I also was able to participate in something called the SOAR program, where it stands for Sentencing Options That Achieve Results. It's in many ways like a diversion program. It offers individuals with pending federal cases an opportunity to participate in a program that addresses their needs rather than incarcerates them. Through the program, I witnessed participants getting their GEDs, buying their first cars, obtaining steady employment, maintaining years of sobriety, and cultivating healthy relationships. And just this month, I was actually invited back to the graduation of one of their classes. I actually had to turn my Zoom camera off as I teared up a little bit. So one of the benefits of our virtual world, and I should probably work on that after I graduate from being a baby lawyer. The EPIC grant gave me an opportunity to start pursuing my career in public interest now, rather than waiting until I graduate and pay off all my loans. I didn't have to go out and get a summer job just for the money. I was able to do something that I felt passionate about and be a part of a team that was helping people. I wanted to do well in law school, as we all do, but I also really wanted to do good. And the EPIC grant gave me an opportunity to do that this past summer and in my legal career going forward. And for that, I cannot express to you all how grateful I am. So thank you to EPIC and all of our donors. You are truly, truly appreciated more than you know.
It's amazing to hear the ways in which Emory students adapted to the virtual world and continued to provide meaningful legal services in the public interest, especially due to needs heightened by the pandemic. We look forward to learning how these unique summer experiences will shape their futures. Now we're going to hear from previous EPIC grant recipients. EPIC is so grateful for our alumni mentors, and we are excited to highlight the ways that the grant helped catalyst their careers and inspire their extraordinary contributions to society.
Hi, I'm Jenny Hernandez, and I graduated from Emory Law in 2012, and I received the EPIC grant in 2010 to work at the State Department for the Bureau of Democracy and Labor and Human Rights.
I received an EPIC grant to work for the National Law Center on Homelessness and Poverty in Washington, D.C.
It was an incredible opportunity that really was possible with the EPIC grant. As many positions, it was an unpaid position, but it was like a dream job for me. I had been wanting to work in international law and policy and to actually be in the government dialogue on human rights and how that ethic was put to work in our government, and that's the exact opportunity it gave me.
The EPIC grant really opened the door for me to be able to pursue the summer job that I felt would provide the best experience for an aspiring public interest lawyer, despite it being unpaid.
I was really interested in and staying committed to public interest and social justice issues. So just being in that time, being able to go to the State Department, staying involved with EPIC, just kept me focused and kept me on a career path to what I ultimately ended up doing, which is I am lead attorney of the Immigration Defense Unit at the City of Atlanta Office of the Public Defender, where I represent detained individuals who are fighting their deportations. And I also advise public defenders on the immigration consequences that their non-citizen clients may face due to their criminal charges. And it's the first of its kind in even the state of Georgia, and I'm getting to start off a unit like this within the city of Atlanta, just like based from my education and time at Emory Law.
The experience I gained that summer working on housing litigation and policy helped me apply for and ultimately receive an Equal Justice Works Fellowship that allowed me to do foreclosure prevention work at Atlanta Legal Aid after graduation. I'm a senior associate with the Barnes Law Group.
I support EPIC grants, since I left, because I know the opportunities it gave me. And I mean, I was EPIC president, and I remember how important it was for students to have those opportunities and to be able to find funding for jobs they really cared about. And so that's why I've always tried to give to it. I've always given to them every year.
I know how much of a difference EPIC grants make to students who want to pursue careers in government or nonprofit work. The Inspiration Awards also provide an opportunity for the Emory Law community to come together and support, encourage, and celebrate students who want to pursue a career in the public interest. I would encourage students to spend as much time as they can out in the community and to get to know the wonderful people who are doing public interest work in Atlanta. Having mentors makes all the difference, it's true. And anytime you can spend volunteering or observing will make you a better lawyer and will also keep you connected to the reason why you wanted to become a lawyer in the first place.
You know, there's so much work to be done. There's so many issues to be committed to. It's really just about finding those areas that like make you want to get up every day, that you see things that you want to address, and that you've been given the skill now. You have a law degree, and there's like so much to do with it. Immerse yourself in these issues and educate yourself and figure out how you can best use your law degree to serve like the most pressing issues in our time.
Well, what a great way to kick off our year-long commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the EPIC Inspiration Awards. I hope all of you enjoyed our focus this year on what the EPIC grant means to our students and our alumni. In closing, I want to do two quick things. First, give thanks, and then ask for your help. First, the thanks. Thank you to Dean Babinski, to EPIC President Drew Selden, this year's event co-chairs Matt Rohr and Elena Trilling, the entire executive board of EPIC and the EPIC Advisory Board. Next, thanks to Tallulah Lanier, Randy Tessier, Lyndon Waite, Ali Golish, Nancy Jin, Claire Scavone, Jenny Hernandez, and Kristen Tullis-Oliver, who spoke through the inspirational videos, and to all of our students doing such inspiring things. Special thanks to my colleagues who worked behind the scenes to pull off this virtual celebration. Amy Marcellana, who handled the logistics, Kenyatta Greer, who worked magic through compiling the videos, Courtney Stombach, who coordinated the invitation and works closely with me on fundraising for grants, Susan Clark for her guidance, and Blakely James, program coordinator for the Center for Public Service, who supports me in everything I do. Last, but certainly not least, thanks to each of you who joined us today, and to those of you who have already made financial contributions to support summer grants. We have nearly as many people on this program today virtually as we normally would have in Tull Auditorium, and that's amazing. We missed seeing you in person and enjoying a sumptuous reception afterwards, and we hope that you're safe and well, and we will see you in person next year, if not before. And now the request for support. At this point in our in-person programs, I would ask all students and alumni who have ever received an EPIC grant to raise their hands. I then would ask all students who are planning to apply for an EPIC grant this year to raise their hands. Although you cannot see the hands this year, I can assure you there will be substantial demand for grants, maybe even more than last year. Last year, we gave out a record 41 grants totaling more than $200,000. Several additional students received grants from other sources, but we were unable to fund other students who were eligible. As you can imagine, and as you heard in the videos, the work these students undertook was even more critical during the pandemic, both for their experiential learning and the organizations and clients they served. So again, for each of you who has already donated this year, thank you. We will post this year's donors at the $250 level and above on the website very soon. If any of you can make a donation or an additional donation, you can now see a QR code on your screen. You can scan that and donate now, or you can go to the website and donate there, or email or call Courtney Stombach or me and we can assist you. Thank you very much for supporting our students who are working hard to make a difference in the world, and they are making a difference in the world. And finally, please mark your calendars for Tuesday, February 1, 2022, for the culmination of our 25th anniversary commemoration of the Epic Inspiration Awards event. Watch for additional video messages from students and alumni throughout the coming year, and plan to join us next year and consider nominating outstanding public servants for outstanding leadership in the public interest, lifetime commitment to public service, and unsung devotion to those most in need. Thank you again on all of our behalfs, and please have a good evening.